The park's golden sunlight spilled across a quiet bench where a millionaire sat with his mute daughter, her small hand clutching his, her eyes tracing the flight of a sparrow. For 7 years, her silence had been his deepest pain, a mystery no amount of wealth could solve. Doctors, therapists, and endless tests had failed to coax a single word from her lips. Then a black man in a worn jacket approached, his smile warm as he tossed a colorful ball and sang a playful tune. In a heartbeat, the girl's lips parted, a soft quack shattering the quiet. The millionaire's world stopped, his breath caught as his daughter's voice rang out for the first time. Who was this stranger? How had he unlocked what millions couldn't? This fleeting moment in a city park would unravel a story of despair, connection, and a miracle that would forever change their lives, proving that sometimes hope comes from the most unexpected places. Edward Warwick's estate loomed over the city's edge, its stone walls and manicured gardens a testament to his real estate empire. At 48, Edward had turned ambition into millions, his name synonymous with luxury high-rises and shrewd deals. But his wealth meant little against the silence of his 7-year-old daughter, Sophie, whose bright green eyes and chestnut curls hid a voice that had never emerged. Diagnosed with selective mutism at age 3, Sophie communicated through gestures, sketches, and a radiant smile that masked her inner world. Edward's wife had died in a car accident when Sophie was a baby, leaving him to raise her alone. His love fierce, but his heart heavy with her silence. Specialists offered theories, trauma, anxiety, but no solutions, their bills piling up as Edward's hope dwindled. She's in there, he'd whisper, watching her draw birds in her sketchbook. But how do I reach her? Edward's days were consumed by boardrooms, his nights by research into therapies. He rejected medications, believing Sophie's voice would come naturally if given time. His staff, a devoted housekeeper, Margaret, and a driver, Tom, filled the mansion with warmth, but Sophie's silence cast a shadow. On a rare Saturday off, Edward decided to take her to Willow Park, a green haven where families gathered. "Let's go see the ducks, Sophie," he said, buckling her into his sleek Mercedes. She clutched her sketchbook, her smile lighting the car, her silence a quiet companion. Willow Park buzzed with life, children chasing kites, parents chatting, dogs barking. Edward pushed Sophie on a swing, her silent giggles warming his heart. Nearby, Marcus Reed, a 42-year-old black man in a faded jacket, sat on a bench, sketching the park's birds. A former special education teacher turned street artist, Marcus, had a gift for connecting with children, his patience honed by years of helping those with challenges. He noticed Sophie's curious gaze on a duck and waved, his sketchpad open. Edward, protective but weary, allowed the interaction, unaware that Marcus held the key to a miracle. The park's breeze carried the scent of fresh grass as Edward guided Sophie to the pond, her small hand pointing at a duck gliding across the water. "Look at that one, Sophie, it's showing off," he said, mimicking a quack. She clapped silently, her sketchbook open to a half-drawn duck, her eyes bright with joy. Edward's phone buzzed with work emails, but he ignored them, savoring the moment. Across the path, Marcus looked up from his sketch, a detailed sparrow taking shape on his pad. "She loves those ducks, huh?" he called, his voice gentle. Edward glanced over, noting Marcus's worn clothes but kind eyes. "Yeah, she does," he replied, cautious. Sophie tugged his sleeve, pointing at Marcus's drawing. "Want to see?" Marcus asked, holding up his sketchpad. Sophie nodded eagerly, pulling Edward closer. "She's mute," Edward explained, his tone heavy. "Hasn't spoken a word in her life." Marcus nodded, no pity in his gaze. "Mind if I share something with her?" Edward hesitated, but saw Sophie's excitement. "Go ahead," he said, staying close. Marcus pulled a colorful rubber ball from his bag. "Hey, little artist, want to play a game?" he asked, tossing it gently. Sophie caught it, her face glowing, and tossed it back, her silent laughter a melody only Edward could hear. Marcus started a rhythm, bouncing the ball. 1, 2, 3, bounce it to me, he sang, his voice low and inviting. Sophie mimicked his moves, her hands quick, her lips moving silently to the beat. Edward watched, a flicker of hope stirring. She's never this engaged with strangers, he thought, but years of failed therapies kept his optimism in check. Marcus shifted to a bird-themed rhyme. Sparrow in the sky, tweet, tweet high. Sophie's hands fluttered like wings, her lips forming a silent tweet. Edward leaned forward, his heart pounding. Is she trying? He whispered to himself. The game grew, Marcus weaving in songs and gestures, his teaching experience evident. What's the duck say? Quack, 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 he sang, tossing the ball. Sophie caught it, her lips parting, a faint quack escaping. Edward froze, his breath caught. Did I hear that? He thought, tears prickling. Marcus repeated the rhyme, his voice steady. Quack, quack, little duck! Sophie's voice grew, a clear quack, ringing out, followed by a giggled tweet! Edward's world tilted. Sophie, he gasped, dropping to his knees. She turned, pointing at the pond. Duck, Daddy? Her voice was soft but unmistakable, a miracle unfolding in the park's sunlight. Marcus smiled, encouraging her. That's it, keep going. Edward's mind raced. How had this stranger, this black man with a ball and a song, done what experts couldn't? The tension peaked, hope and disbelief colliding as Sophie's voice filled the air, the park's serenity amplifying the moment's weight. Sophie's voice sang out, Tweet, tweet! As she bounced the ball, her face alight with joy, her words clear as she pointed to a sparrow. Bird! Daddy! Edward collapsed to the grass, tears streaming, his hands trembling as he pulled her into a hug. Sophie, you're speaking! He choked, his voice breaking. Marcus stepped back, his smile humble. She's got a beautiful voice, he said softly. Edward gripped his arm, overwhelmed. How did you do it? Therapists, specialists, nothing worked. Marcus shrugged, his eyes kind. I taught kids with challenges. It's about trust, not pressure. She felt free to try. Edward's heart swelled with gratitude, the climax a flood of awe as Sophie babbled, Quack! Bird! The park's ducks glided on, unaware of the miracle, as Edward realized this stranger had unlocked his daughter's voice in moments, shattering years of silence with a simple game. The park's magic lingered as Sophie babbled, Duck Daddy, look! Pointing to the pond. Edward wiped tears, turning to Marcus. Who are you? He asked, his voice raw. Marcus shared his story. A former teacher who left the classroom after budget cuts, now scraping by as a street artist, teaching kids through community programs. Edward, moved, invited him to the mansion. You've given me my daughter's voice, he said. Let me help you. Marcus hesitated, but accepted a role leading art therapy at Edward's foundation. Back home, Sophie's voice grew. Simple words like flower, sky, love. Therapists, now effective, built on Marcus's breakthrough, crediting his playful approach. Edward funded Marcus's community programs, their friendship deepening over park visits where Sophie played and spoke. The mansion buzzed with her chatter, her sketchbook now paired with words. At a foundation event, Sophie said, Thank you, Marcus, her voice clear, the crowd tearing up. Edward reflected in a quiet moment. I thought money was the answer. It took a stranger's kindness. The resolution was a celebration of connection, proving miracles stem from empathy. What hidden gifts lie in those we overlook? This story shows a chance encounter can change everything.